So let's talk about page numbering. Page numbering is usually happening in the margins of your document, whether it's in the top, bottom, left, or right. And page numbering gets really wonky when you start having things like section breaks. So it's really important that you follow along closely, but also that you start at the top and move down through the document fixing errors. Word's only so smart, it needs a lot of help when it comes to page numbering, and page numbering is probably one of the most complicated things you could do in a Word document, especially when you have section breaks. So first things first, let's insert page numbering. Page numbering can be found on the Insert tab, and it's all the way over in the header and footer group. You can insert specific headers that have names. Some of them have page numbers in it, like Slice 1 has page numbers, Slice 2. But these are specific headers that are pre-created with not only page numbering, but things like document title, date, those kinds of properties we've already seen. Same thing as for the footer. There's different footers that you can choose from with different names and already pre-formatted. Or you can just insert a page number, which won't have other properties. You can insert a page number in the top of the page, bottom of the page, in the page margins, or at your current position where your cursor is clicked. I'm going to insert mine at the bottom of the page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and choose accent bar number 1. This will put in the page number at the bottom of the page in the footer. When you click that, you'll see a couple things happen. Number 1, you're in the footer now. It up here has now had a new tab in your ribbon called header and footer. And everything in your document is kind of grayed out because when you're in the header and footer, you're in a different mode. To get back to your document to edit it, you either need to close your header and footer or double click up into the actual page. When you double click up into the actual page, you'll see that your footer grays out, and now you can go ahead and get back into it by double clicking into the footer. You can do the same thing for header, but once you're in there, just note that you can double click in and out easily to pop between them. Okay, so let's scroll up to page 1. Page 1 says first page footer section 1. It's got nothing on it, which is great because the cover page usually doesn't have anything on it. What I want to point out though is that it says first page footer. And it knows this is the first page because it's the first page within section 1. So remember, we broke our document into sections. So this is where you have to kind of keep track of the sections. What's also important is that different first page is checked up here, which means that the first page can have a different setting than all the rest, which is why it doesn't have page numbers. Okay, going down to page 2. We want to change this from a 6 to a 1. So what we're going to do is click on the page number. It'll become gray because Word's controlling the page number and what it actually says. So just like with your numbered lists or, what was the other thing that we used? I don't remember the other one, the numbered list. There's another one that's controlled. Oh, like the figures, figure 1, figure 2, figure 3 for all your different captions. That's what I was looking for. You have one that's being controlled by Word, so you don't want to delete it. So I'm going to go to page number up here, and I'm going to format the page number. And so you're clicked on it, and you're choosing format page number. You then get to pick what number it starts at. So, and the format. So you can change it to like a 1-1, ABC, Roman numerals, all these things. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to start at the number 1 because that would be logical. So I'm going to click OK. And when I do that, you'll see that the first page, it pops me back up to it, nothing on it. Scroll down. The second page has a 1. Okay, let's keep moving. Page 2 has a 2. Perfect. Page 3 has a 3. Awesome. I want you to note we're still in section 1, but we're about to pop to section 2. Okay. Section 2 is on page 7. What? Crazy. Okay. So here's kind of the deal. When sections are introduced, sometimes the document breaks it out and the document doesn't update automatically. So even though this is linked to the previous section, section 1, and it's the same, it's pulling the look, but it's not pulling the number. So what we're going to do is click on the 7, go to page number, and format page numbers. You can see it's still starting at 6. It's got that previous setting, but we want to continue from the previous section of section 1. We're then going to click OK, and you'll see that section 1 is page 3. Scroll down. We're now on page 4 in section 2 because it's linking to the previous section and pulling down the number. So before it was starting at a specific number in this section, and now it's linked, so now it's going to pull. Scrolling down, I bet you when we get to section 3, it's again not linked. It's not pulling that number knowing we're actually on page 5. So we're going to go back to page number, format it, and continue from the previous section. By default, when you're using sections, they tend to act autonomously instead of integrating together. So you might have to go through and adjust each of these through your sections to make them talk to each other so that they actually have number to number to number. Unfortunately, this is a setting that kind of occurs in sections. So if you didn't want this to occur, the best thing you could do is put your page numbering in first and make sure the settings are correct, and then come in and have your sections. But the goal is to have page 10 on the end, and scrolling back up, have all the numbers go in order by manually changing that to pulling from the previous section. All right, that's looking great. Now, scrolling all the way back up, we have an issue because our table of contents still says 787, blah, 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 blah. So how would we update our table of contents to have the new page numbers? Well, when you click on your table of contents, there's actually a button that pops up that's called Update Table, or you can go to the References tab and update the table. When you click that, you get two options. Do you want to update the page numbers only, or do you want to update the entire table? The only thing we changed was page numbers, so we only need to update the page numbers. But when would you want to need to update the entire table? When you add new headings or you move them around. So when you want to update the entire table, that's when you add or remove headings from your list. Go ahead and click OK for updating page numbers only, and you'll see all the page numbers in your table of contents have updated. And that's pretty slick because I don't know about you, I wouldn't want to come in and manually change every one of these page numbers on this page.